time, I knew like, this isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life. So that was a huge learning experience for me, and also the internship I had was not very guided. It was kind of, the nonprofit I worked for was sustainable only because of the constant inflow of interns. And when they got there, basically they said, here's our mission, here's what we do, find your own projects, do your own thing. So that was really beneficial too, just to see in what kind of gauge my strengths and what types of projects were well suited for me.
But you really had to take the initiative, it sounds like. Otherwise, if you have to have someone, if you're someone who really needs to know what their expectations are, and they didn't lay them out, that would be very frustrating.
And I would hope that a lot of internships are like that initiative on your part is very important. And certainly they'll be the most beneficial to you if you take your own initiative and do more than they ask you to.
I would kind of build off of the initiative. I think it's really important once you get the internship, like, yay, that's great that you got it, but it's also really important that you go there and you just knock their socks off. It's going to open a lot of doors for you later on. And I think I kind of found that sense of initiative, and if you take the opportunity that you've been given and just maximize it to its fullest potential, that's where you're going to get the most benefit out of your internship. So I went and did an internship over winter break, and it was only 4 weeks that I was in Atlanta, Georgia, working at Emory University, but I pounded out a ton of data, and I got like 3 publications just from 4 weeks of work, which is really cool and really awesome. It's exhausting, but I almost think an internship should be exhausting, and you should feel pushed to your limits and kind of pushed outside of your comfort zone. And by taking the initiative to do that, I think that's really important. And then I think the second biggest thing I got from my internship would be confidence in my abilities. So being a science major, a lot of times like you have all these lab classes and you do the labs, but you're only in labs for like 3 hours a week or 6 hours a week, and you don't know if that's actually going to transfer to the real world. And so when you get into a setting where you're actually doing stuff with real data or with real projects or something that you would actually be doing at a real job, I was unsure if I was ready or prepared for that, and it turns out I definitely was. And so getting that internship really boosted my confidence level and made me sure that that was the field that I wanted to go into.
Okay, so when I'm going to go off both of you guys. When I first came to Truman as an accounting major, I loved numbers, didn't really like working with people, or so I thought. And so I took an internship at World Fund Sales Intern because I wanted to kind of try out the whole, well, I was going to take an accounting internship, they didn't have any available, and this just worked out. And basically I was looking for ways that employees could be stealing from the company, which there were 2 things I hated about this. 1, I sat in front of a computer all day. 2, we had to yell at people and fire people for taking money from the company. I didn't like either of those things. It was awful. So I'm really, really glad I did that internship, because if I hadn't, I think I would still be an accounting major. And like, I just realized how much I hated it. And if I were to learn that after I graduated with an accounting major, that would suck. So I'm very glad that I did that. And then as a sophomore, I also started working in the Career Center, just as my scholarship job, but it turned into an internship, and I've been doing that for the last 2 years now. And it's been amazing. I've loved every second of it. I love working with people. I love working with students, and it just kind of showed me that. I've also had really awesome mentors that have given me more confidence. Like, I have a lot more confidence in my abilities and my leadership style and the skills that I possess, which kind of led me to apply at BML, which is a digital marketing agency, since I'm a marketing management major. And I love BML, love the company, love everything they do. It's amazing. I just didn't feel as fulfilled in the job as I did at the Career Center. Like, I love what I do at the Career Center. I feel like I'm making a difference. And so I think just all my internships combined and the experiences that I had kind of made me realize where my passion is and where I want to be after I graduate. So I'm very, very thankful for that, and I do think that I gained so much confidence from them that I can excel into the field that I want to go into. If that makes sense.
How many of you feel like you're introverts? Is there anyone in the room? Okay.
You can't ask introverts to raise their hand.
I know it's a bad question for an introvert. Anybody think extrovert and we'll subtract the other people. Okay. Okay. The reason I asked that is Shelby definitely, that was why she didn't think she wanted to work with people, probably. But being an introvert doesn't mean you aren't good working with people. It's just a different approach. You know, you definitely are, and it's sometimes better because you're going to take the time to listen and a lot of different skills that you develop as an introvert. So don't X out certain things because of that. So it's been really good. How about you, Caitlin?
My internship just kind of confirmed for me that I wanted to definitely go along a more psychological path and go to grad school for clinical psych. I love my internship, but it was just kind of a realizing that, you know, doing this type of work for the rest of my life wasn't really kind of going off what she said. That their job is extremely important. What they do is very valuable. They work very hard and go above and beyond their job descriptions and what their job actually is supposed to be sometimes, but it's not something that I think I can do for the rest of my life.
So clinical psychology is your next round.
Clinical psychology,
Okay.
applying to grad school, just waiting for that.
I think the biggest takeaway I took from my internship was I really developed my communication skills. So I worked as a camp counselor pretty much throughout the summer. So teenagers came to the hospital and then we would put on events for the patients. And then they would also go throughout the hospital and meet with doctors and things like that and kind of learn what they were doing so that they could kind of hone in on their skills for what they wanted to do in the future. So that meant I was dealing with 16-year-olds, which is an interesting group among themselves. And then I was also talking with my supervisors who were older women. I was talking with doctors in the hospital, and then I was also dealing with patients and their parents. So I pretty much think I covered all of my bases as far as people I could communicate with because we have kids of all ages. So I really feel comfortable pretty much initiating conversations, or I really honed in on my email skills and things like that, which I think is very important because then I was able to present myself well throughout the hospital and kind of give myself a good reputation for future possibilities that could come my way. And I think what I was originally not very interested in working in hospital work. I'm more interested in public health, but this hospital kind of showed me that there is a way that health administration can be interesting, especially when you are working so closely with patients and things like that. So it definitely opened up a new path for me, which is interesting and has kind of opened up the opportunities that I'm looking into now, which is just applying for jobs. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
So my internship, like I mentioned, was at an art museum in Kansas City, and I had a very similar experience to Ray in that I was in development and didn't love it, but it was an okay thing for me to be doing. But I was I probably don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't feel like I could be passionate about this, and I'd probably get burnt out about it pretty quickly. But being in the museum, and the art world in Kansas City in general, I did love that experience. I got to go to openings where international artists were coming to cut the ribbon on their new exhibit, and that's really exciting for somebody who's an art history major and studies that as a scholarly interest, and then got to spend time talking to different people in the museum, seeing what their jobs are and how they help everything function and flow and work, and just being in that environment, it became so clear to me how many different opportunities and types of jobs there are in museums that I hadn't really thought about before. Exhibition design, which is basically being an architect, an interior design, and an art historian, all in one. And I was that sounds like an awesome job. So there are a lot of cool things that I just hadn't explored before that I had the opportunity to. And I had an unpaid internship, so it gave me this motivation to do work because I wanted to do it, and I felt like it was making a difference in the office, and not just because I was getting a paycheck for it. Which I don't know if anyone else is doing an unpaid internship or has done an unpaid internship on the panel, but it's pretty common in the nonprofit sector because they don't make a profit, so there's not a lot of extra cash flow. But so having that to motivate myself, I feel taught me a lot about why I was doing the work that I was doing, and that the paycheck at the end of the day isn't necessarily the most important thing for me. So now I'm applying for Teach for America, which is mostly volunteer. You have a salary, but it's not a super high paid salary, obviously. But and I'm very comfortable with that if I'm doing something that I could firmly believe in and think that I'm helping make a difference that money won't always be able to.
I'm going to interject here. Teach for America is fabulous. We've had a lot of good people go to Teach for America, and they're not for the faint of heart experiences by any means. Another opportunity that, and I just have to interject this, that is similar, not exactly the same as College Possible. Have any of you heard of that? It's an AmeriCorps program that works with high school students who might not think of college as a possibility. It's not a full-time teaching position per se, it's a more of a mentoring position. And they're gonna be at the career fair next week, so I mention that because it's kind of interesting. Okay, Dominic?
Cool. So I actually came into Truman as a biology major because I thought that genetics and microbiology is super fascinating, and I still do. But kind of looking over the biology major track made me want to throw up.
Don't take offense to that.
Alright, it makes me wanna throw up, so it's fine.
So I switched to computer science major, which is exactly where I need to be. It's awesome. And so my sophomore year, I was kind of in this like computer science, you're supposed to get an internship mode. So I did, and Boeing was awesome, and it taught me a lot of really valuable things for life and like career type stuff. But it also showed me that I don't think I could do that for the rest of forever. Because it was sort of interesting work, but if I didn't think too hard about it, but then when I thought about it, I was like, I don't really want to do this. So after I actually accepted the internship, still during my sophomore year of school, I learned that computational biology is a thing that exists. And so I kind of kept that in the back of my mind as something I could like merge these two interests that I have together. And then when I was at Boeing, they actually offered me another internship, and I turned it down because I told them I wanted to pursue a research internship, see if maybe I like that more. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's how it will be. That's how it was. And so then I applied to University of Chicago, which was technically a biology research experience, but like I worked in the computational side of things, and that showed me that, yeah, that's where I need to be. And that's what I'm pursuing now, is like a computational biology route. So I guess it took me 2 internships to figure out what I wanted to do, but it was good that I got those like different experiences in like, different fields with my various internships. It just kind of showed me which track I need to be.
Well, you learn a lot in the classroom, but what you learn outside of the classroom is equally important, or actually applying, being able to apply and figure out how it fits, and all of that is extremely valuable. I can't preach internships enough, you know. Are any of you freshmen at this point? Okay, oh, wow. What you need to be doing this summer is shadowing, a lot of shadowing, to really, really find out what they do on a day-to-day basis in those fields. I mean, I think probably everybody up here has done that to some degree. And it's not a commitment of the whole summer, because nobody will let you follow them around for the whole summer. They'll be a little creeped out by that. But they, you know, just to explore it, and have any of you done that? Okay. How did you find your shadowing opportunity?
It's just at a hospital, and so I go to different specialties and like go with different specialty doctors and just follow them around all day.
And you talk to them before you start following them, right? You let
Yeah,
them know
you have
you're
to get some HIPAA stuff.
Just thought I'd mention. It's not that hard. I mean, you guys have shadowed. How did you find opportunities to shadow somebody? Jessica?
So I want to go into genetic counseling, and so what I did is I Googled. I'm very good at Googling, and I found a children's hospital that I actually had experience with, and I just emailed one of the genetic counselors asking if they had shadowing opportunities, and then they sent me on to the director of the genetic counseling program, and he's like, oh my gosh, we would love to do this. We never get anybody that asks to shadow. Let's set you up, and there's a lot of paperwork that you have to go through, especially if you're going to work in a hospital. But again, if you ask, then there's a good chance that people are willing to help you. A lot of times, I think what stopped me from pursuing opportunities is I was afraid to ask if they would let me shadow, or if they would let me intern, or if I could do this. And getting over that fear is really important, because a lot of people want to help you. I mean, most people want to help you grow as a person and figure out what you want to do. And so I would just encourage you to ask. And it's the worst thing they can do is say no, and it's your life will go on if they say no. But a lot of times they will say yes. So
The first thing is an informational interview, where you just ask them about their career path. The second is asking them for an opportunity